Chris Scouser here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Round, Matt and I discussed the documentary Dick Johnson is Dead. The first one in quite a while, Matt, due to my kind of loose ban on the genre. So, does Dick Johnson is Dead, Matt, does it show me the error of my ways of this kind of loose ban on documentaries? And then it's going to be on to the Sherlock Holmes fanfic Enola Holmes, the movie that answers the question, what if Sherlock Holmes had a younger sister with the ability to move things with her mind and fight demons in another dimension? I may be conflating some things with that. That's not right. There'll be, of course, the exhilarating rundown of all the big releases on physical media, featuring your straight-to-DVD and streaming picks of the week. Then, with the holidays upon us, it's time for the 2020 gift guide for the movie lover in your life, or just for you. But let's start everything off with a clip from Dick Johnson is Dead.
You never said you were taking the car away from me.
It was said that we were selling the car because you're moving to New York.
Yeah, I always said that.
Right, that's all.
But who's selling and when and where?
It's being put on Craigslist this week. It's at the repair shop being finished right now. I'm telling you what I know. But you're not getting the car back. I do know that.
Never driving it again.
No, not that car. Maybe some other car. Is that the worst news ever?
Not the worst, but it's pretty bad news.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not far enough gone that I couldn't drive my own car. You know?
Well, it's not about that. It's about the fact that you're moving to New York.
Yeah, I know.
You can't
I'm
keep the car.
my car.
That's
know
right.
that.
That's all.
But in between now and the
It's
time...
only a couple of days.
Okay.
Sorry. I know it hurts. It's your independence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Matt, why don't you tell the fine folks at home they're doing their holiday shopping? Perhaps they're ahead of the game and wrapping gifts. Maybe they're just prepping their Thanksgiving Day stuff, though this will come out the day after Thanksgiving. So maybe they're heating up those leftovers. What is Dick Johnson is Dead all about?
So documentary Kirsten Johnson decides to make a documentary about her father and his, as he kind of declines in his old age, starts losing some of his mental faculties, and kind of documents what his passing may be like, intersplicing real life footage with these kind of fantasy scenes of his passing to, I think, successful effect.
So I walked into this thing, or more appropriately, I sat down on my couch and fired up the old Netflix machine, and I anticipated kind of this black comedy, Matt, right? We're going to be filled with these different reenactments of how he possibly could have met his death. And there wasn't really that much of that in this, right? Not at least not as much as I was anticipating. What I ended up getting, and maybe in retrospect it was a smarter move, was a documentary, you can pronounce it either way, focusing on family and loss, but not just the loss when the family member passes, right? Because that's what this film is we're preparing for what's going to happen with that loss. But no, here we're focused on also the onset of dementia. And I can tell you, having experienced that myself with a family member, it is exceptionally difficult because you lose your family member twice. But it's harder, I think, at times, depending on the progression for the rest of the family than it is from the person suffering from it. I found the film touching, Matt. It's funny. It is horribly sad at some times. But also it's sometimes a little more manipulative than I think I really cared for. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I went into this pretty blind. I had not really heard about this film, and I didn't know much about it going into it. It's strange. Like, I think at times this film can be incredibly poignant and really show you the kind of love that they have for each other and just what it's like to kind of see someone slowly drift away, as, you know, exemplified in the scene that you just put in. But I agree with you. I don't know if some of the, how should I put it, the reenactments or the fake scenes, I don't know if they serve the purpose that the filmmaker thought they would. I don't know. I found them to be a jarring diversion, and I didn't think it was particularly welcome. I felt like they detracted from the film, and I just don't. I think it was stronger when it was just showing the interactions and with her father, and his life. I don't know. I think it had some neat ideas, but it's flawed.
That's interesting. So I stated it's a little manipulative at times, but all cinema is to a point, right? I mean, that's the point of it and art in general. I didn't have so much an issue with those different reenactments and those different moments, right? That was not as much of a problem for me. I felt more the climax of the film, where it kind of pulls this dodge, could be interpreted as a bit of a cheat, right? I found the interweaving of the fantasy elements, at least the set elements of that, really well done. I appreciated those. And I did like the occasional moments when we did have those different ways of him accidentally being killed. But that ending of it is the part that I think I struggle with. The rest of it I didn't really have an issue with. Some of it is, as I said, had a real emotional impact on me. But what did you feel about the end of that film?
The fake out part or the kind of coda part of it where there's the gathering?
The coda part for me, and I don't even know for sure the fake out part if that was indeed fake. I mean, it's set up right. I don't know how much we want to say, but it's set up to maybe that we're at the end of the film, basically, right? But we're actually not. Mm-hmm. And maybe that scene, I mean, I'm sure that scene happened. You're not going to get that kind of experience, I think. I don't think they're going to have staged that particular one. But yeah, I guess it's the coda. Let's just jump into it. What do you think about the coda? Because that's the part of the film that really I struggled with the most.
Yeah, I thought it was a little strange. I thought it was a strange choice to kind of do this in real life. It was an interesting choice just to kind of see how the people reacted in his life around him. And I think at times it is very effective, but when it kind of pulls back and reveals what actually is happening, I thought it was a little strange the way they decided to go with this. Yeah.
Fair enough. That's the one part of it that really just kind of didn't sit right with me. Though I appreciate what they were saying and what they're doing. And it might be interesting to be able to see, everybody wants to see what happens at the end, right? To kind of see how that would all kind of play out. For me, though, the real hook of the film and what the film relies on is the family's love for each other, specifically Johnson and his affection for his daughter. I mean, that's why he chooses to do this film, I think, really, right? He knows that time and his mind are slipping from him at this point. And he does this. He's affable and amiable and he's open to doing it. He seems to be enjoying himself. But I really think that it's because he loves her so much. And also the fear and honesty that the two of them have together when they have their discussions, particularly the fact that they had already experienced this with the passing of their mother a few years previously, I think made that even more powerful.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was I like the parts with her mother. I thought that what they were saying is that you don't know how much time you have left with anybody, so take advantage of it while you can. And I thought that was a good message. And it was, I felt a lot of, emotional heft with that. But overall, I don't really know how I felt about this film. I think at times it had these flashes of just really being able to kind of affect you emotionally and be able to see yourself in it no matter what your situation is. But at other times, I just felt so distant from it. I don't know what I would give this film. I don't know how ultimately I feel about it. Maybe I'm going to give it a C+, just as I feel like that's somewhere in the middle. I know a lot of people really liked it, but for me, it's so vastly different between its two moods and emotions. It almost seems like it's muddled what it's trying to say.
Interesting. I didn't have that experience. It's not exactly a life-affirming film, right? It doesn't make you want to dance in the streets for being alive and how important life is. It's not like that at all. It's more just this solemn review or discussion of just the relationship between this family as they prepare for the inevitable. And it's different, it's unusual, and I can't think I used the term I enjoyed it. I don't know if that's the proper way to put it, but there were certainly moments that were very fun, funny, beautiful, and horribly, horribly sad. I ended up giving Dick Johnson Is Dead a B+ myself, Matt. So you came in at a C+. I'll allow it. If you've had a chance to see Dick Johnson Is Dead, which is currently streaming on Netflix, go ahead and shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Coming up on physical media this upcoming Tuesday, that is December 1st. Well, Matt, there is a series of films getting released in 4K that I think are kind of just will bring you probably as much joy as the birth of your child. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Here's a clip from one of those films.
By the blood of our people are your lands kept safe. Give Gondor the weapon of the enemy. Let us use it against him.
You cannot wield it. None of us can. The One Ring answers to Sauron alone. It has no other master.
And what would a ranger know of this matter? This is no mere ranger. He is Aragorn, son of Arathorn. You owe him your allegiance. Aragorn. This is Isildur's heir. And heir to the throne of Gondor.
Have a bad, Legolas.
Gondor has no king. Gondor needs no king.
So there you go, Matt. The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogy is all being released in 4K. Includes extended and theatrical cuts. It's retailing for about $90 right now, but it is the MSRP, so I'm assuming maybe it'll drop a little bit. One thing that's interesting is that this initial release is only going to be the 4K discs and digital copies. It's not going to include the remastered Blu-rays. And they did I guess they fixed, air quotes, the color timing of The Lord of the Rings, the first one. Its previous home video iterations, it just was off. It didn't look right like it did theatrically. So, from what I understand, they did fix that for this one. And the extended cuts, Matt, even in the 4K, are still spread across 2 discs. They're not on one.
Really?
Because I guess they want to maximize that picture for you. And they did rework the Dolby Atmos soundtrack specifically for a home theater experience. I'm not quite sure what that means, but that has been done. Special features? I haven't been able to find anything online about that yet. I understand that I think that some archival stuff is included, maybe some new stuff. I don't know. It's really been odd that I haven't been able to pin that down. Best Buy has some steel books exclusive to them for all of the films that look, I gotta admit, pretty sharp. And there is a special edition case that comes with a replica of the ring on a gold chain as well. But that's retailing for, on the Warner store right now, $140. So I don't know if you want to pay an extra $50 just to get that ring replica and that fancy case. But there it is, Matt. So what are you going to do? I know you're not as concerned about the included Blu-rays, right? So are you all in on this?
Yeah, I'm all in on this. Yeah, I definitely will be picking this up. I don't think I'll be picking up the Hobbit because I don't love those films as much as I like Lord of the Rings. I can watch Lord of the Rings. I will watch Lord of the Rings at least once every year.
Bill Hunt of the Digital Bits has been playing them and doing screenshots of the 4Ks, and they look stunning. So, yeah, I've never upgraded these, Matt. I just have those DVDs, the extended version DVDs, and those kind of leather-bound book-looking cases.
Yeah.
That's all I've ever had. So I'll definitely be picking this up as well. So that'll be a good grab. New releases, actually, though. Dave Franco's The Rental from Scream Factors coming out. Features Dan Stevens and Alison Brie. HBO is going to release their update of Perry Mason, which I actually rather enjoyed. If you haven't checked it out, I would recommend watching it. Includes some special features with Robert Downey Jr. and conversations with some of the actors. And if you don't remember, because RDJ helped produce the show and get it on the air with HBO. Criterion is giving us the Cronenberg erotic thriller Crash. There's a brand new 4K restoration of that one. This is the one, Matt, where the people like to get it on at car crashes, which is, I guess, is totally a thing. It's audio commentary from 1997, a press conference from Cannes in 96, and more. We're going to get a release of Popeye on Blu-ray, Matt, with a new feature, Return to Sweet Haven, a look back at the film with Robin and the Altmans. This is, of course, a Robert Altman film with Robin Williams, which I loved as a kid, and I have not watched in probably 30 years. Paramount is releasing Trading Places, the Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd classic, a brand new 4K restoration of that. Includes some deleted scenes and archived extras. Paramount's also releasing The Golden Child, the brand new 4K restoration. And then Kino is giving us DC Cab, the classic comedy. Is it a classic comedy? I'm not sure. Pretty solid comedy.
Yeah, that's a solid.
Kino is giving us Apache with Burt Lancaster, as well as Continental Divide, the John Belushi film where he plays the columnist who goes on a trip to kind of reset himself. He meets Blair Brown, and the two of them kind of fall in love, but then it's one of those wacky little comedy things. Kino's also releasing Attack! Exclamation point, also known as A Fragile Fox with Jack Palance and Eddie Albert. Scorpion is giving us The Barbarians. This is that movie featuring the Barbarian Brothers, those wrestlers from back in the day. It's another 80s kind of, straight-to-DVD film. Code Red is giving us Panic from 1982. A scientist experiment with a deadly bacteria goes awry and leaves him horribly deformed. The monstrous man then runs amok in his town. 4K releases for the first time, Matt. We get Coming to America, and there's a Steelbook release as well. Brand new 4K restoration of that film, as well as Beverly Hills Cop. Gets that 4K restoration, as well as an HDR presentation, and a bunch of just ported over archived extras for both of those, really. Blade is getting its 4K release, a brand new HDR presentation of that with a Dolby Atmos soundtrack, commentary by the cast and crew, and 4 making of featurettes. Steelbook 2. Jumanji is getting released as a 3-film set in 4K, so you can get all 3 of them in one pack. HBO is releasing Chernobyl, a series I've been waiting to watch on HBO. I just have not got around to it. I actually had it queued up next, and then I went into Criminal on Netflix instead. Have you watched that at all? That's actually pretty interesting.
I haven't. I have not watched that show, no.
It's basically just, I guess there's a Spanish one too, but the one is in the UK, and it's basically just a cop drama in the interrogation room. It's like some elite interrogation unit that gets brought together. Your straight-to-DVD pick of the week, Mac, I'm going to go with Never Hike in the Snow. It's a prequel set 3 months prior to Never Hike Alone, which is a 2017 fan film for Friday the 13th. Runs about 54 minutes long. It's actually supposed to be pretty good. And this one is a prequel that follows the strange disappearance of Mark Hill, a Crystal Lake resident who went for a hike in the dead of winter and never came home. As local Wessex County Sheriff Rick Colon and Deputy Alan Mabry search for answers, town local Tommy Jarvis believes that his old nemesis Jason Voorhees is to blame. Will Diane Hill ever see her son again? Or will her son become another lost victim of the cursed camp? What should we be streaming this week, Matt?
I'm going to recommend a film that we saw a few years ago, and I don't think got as much appreciation as it should. Midnight Special is available for streaming on Netflix. Stars Michael Shannon, Joel Edgerton, and Kirsten Dunst. Shannon goes on the run with his son who has special powers and is being chased by the government. It's a kind of a low budget, not big visual spectacle kind of film, but it is a really cool little indie sci-fi.
And it's got Michael Shannon, too, which...
it does.
You can't go wrong with that. Good times. All right, folks. It's Black Friday. You're online, doing all your Christmas shopping, your holiday shopping there. You're listening to The Big Show, which we thank you for. And let's keep going, though, and hear a few minutes about Enola Hayes.
Now, where to begin? The first thing you need to know is that my mother named me Enola. She insisted on it, in fact. Enola. I know it's an unusual name, but my mother is rather a fan of word games.
On your marks,
Get set,
go.
and Enola spelled backwards reads, well, alone. Yes! She would continually tell me,
You'll do very well on your own, Enola.
and yet, we were always together. Yes! My father died when I was young. I don't really remember him. And both my brothers left home soon after. I barely remember them either. So then it was just the two of us. And it was wonderful.
All right. So I just want to take a second here. Because Matt's shaking his head at me when we go into the Enola Holmes clip because of my really tortured transition there. Listen, I appreciate that. I know it's horrible. I do these all the time. I don't write these up half the time. Most of the time, I'm just, winging it as we go. I get no input, no help, and all I do is be mocked by my co-host on the other end.
That is 100%. That is not true. That's not true. You made one flub, Usually I'm the one being mocked for my lack of preparation and my vocal tics, my mess ups. I get mocked all the time. It's a little bit of your own medicine.
I'm a little sensitive. Matt, Enola Holmes. Millie Bobby Brown plays the younger sister of Sherlock and Mycroft Holmes. She lives a secluded life with her mother, played by Helena Bonham Carter, and her mother goes missing. And she goes on a mission to find out what happened to her mom. And a bunch of other stuff is happening as well. So, Matt, let me ask you, do we have a new franchise on our hands? Or maybe should we just do a Henry Cavill spin-off series as the actual Sherlock instead?
Maybe both. Why not both? I would be interested in seeing a Henry Cavill Sherlock. I was fine with a Millie Bobby Brown led vehicle. I think it would be interesting to see more. I had a good enough time. I don't think I could ever see this making it outside of Netflix. I think this is a Netflix only type property, but I could stand to see more. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I think that's true. I agree. And I didn't realize, too, that this is actually based on a series of young adult novels.
I didn't know that either.
So, from what I understand, Sherlock Holmes is in the public domain at this point.
Okay.
So, I guess I know the estate was not happy with this, but
okay.
What are you going to do?
What are they going to do about it?
That's it. Do something. Mess around and find out, as the kids say.
change laws. Impossible.
So, yeah, I thought this was a fun, mostly family-friendly experience. I think it does a good job balancing kind of this pro-woman feminist perspective as well. And I think in the end, I realized I'm not really the target audience for this film. Listen, It pops along breezily. It's fun. There's a lot of great little third wall breaks, some of them more effective than others. I may have some slight critiques about the plot and the script at times. Maybe the mystery inherent in the film is a little lacking. Perhaps the violence may be a little too intense for younger viewers, particularly at the end when our hunter-murderer guy meets his end. But I found Millie Bobby Brown in this to be, and I'm excited to get to use this word, effervescent. And she really keeps the film moving. It's an entertaining, couple hours. It's kind of like the Disney-esque cousin to the Guy Ritchie, Robert Downey Jr. films. It kind of has that same DNA in it,
Yeah.
Outside of the slow-motion fight stuff, but still it kind of has that. And I am interested in checking out a sequel. I really am. I think there's enough here to warrant that. In fact, I thought that what we were going to do with the mother's arc up until the very end, the way everything kind of wraps up, I'm like, all right, we're going to set up something where we track down the mom in the sequel. Now, there's still an air of mystery as to what's happening, so I think a sequel is clearly set up to happen if that indeed occurs. And you know what? I'm all for it. I rather enjoyed this Bad Little Bear. Good for you, Millie Bobby Brown and cast and crew. Just tighten some stuff up a little bit. That's all I'm asking. Yeah. Tighten it up, and I think we'll have an even better experience.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you've said. I think the cutaways or the third wall breaking. Third wall? Fourth wall.
Fourth wall. You're right. Fourth wall
breaking is less effective sometimes than others. I think it may be a little bit overused, but overall pretty effective. The only other thing, I guess, if I was asking for something, maybe a little bit more focus if I'm watching a Holmes movie, a little more focus on the deductive reasoning, detective aspect of it. There's not a lot of that in this film.
No.
She's described as being just as capable as Sherlock, so I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of that Sherlockian putting the clues together kind of thing, which you didn't really get. So if I had one request, that would be it. But otherwise, I think this was quite fun. I had a pretty good time watching this. I think it's good family fare if you're sitting around after eating your Thanksgiving turkey and want to watch something that could, I don't know, I think it would be good for watching with grandma and older kids and younger kids to an extent. So I think it'd be a good time to watch it.
There you go. I mean, how much football can you really watch, right?
Seriously.
Especially this season. God, that NFC East, not good.
I know. I mean, have the Jets won a game this year?
No. No. Oh, hell no.
Well, I can't really say anything because, Patriots are in third place now. Tom Brady leaves and that's it.
Yep. Yeah, NFL. I'm going to pay $150 to watch the Jets lose every game. What are you, high? No, thank you. So anyway, Enola Holmes. Matt, I ended up giving it a B.
Yeah, I gave it a B as well.
Look at that.
Listeners, you know that this is fundamentally a B film.
There it is.
No questions.
Enola Holmes is currently streaming on Netflix. If you've had a chance to see it, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. All right, Matt, I hate to do this to you, but every year around this time with the gift guides, I end up having to take off. I have some issues I have to deal with right now, so it's going to be up to you to carry the load to do this. Now, I don't know if you'll be stuck by yourself or not, but we'll see. So I'm going to take off now and enjoy the rest of the show, folks, and I will see you next week.
Well, you going to throw a rock? Hey, that's pretty good. What'd you wish, Mary?
Buffalo gals, can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight? Buffalo gals, can't you come out tonight?
Dance by the light of the moon. What'd you wish when you threw that rock?
Oh, no.
Come on, tell me.
If I told you, it might not come true.
What is it you want, Mary? What do you want? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down. Hey, that's a pretty good idea. I'll give you the moon, Mary.
I'll take it. Then what?
Well, then you could swallow it. And it'd all dissolve, see? And the moonbeams would shoot out of your fingers and your toes and the ends of your hair. Am I talking too much?
Yes. Why don't you kiss her instead of talking her to death?
How's that?
Why don't you kiss her instead of talking her to death?
Want me to kiss her, huh?
Oh, youth is wasted on the wrong people.
Well, I completely forgot that Chris has to take off every year. It's my favorite part of the year to try and handle this by myself. I should have been sick this day, or maybe just not done the gift guide. But faithful viewers, I will do my best to try and bring you something interesting. Oh God, I hear something again. I'll just wait for our special guest to show up. It's very fortunate that he shows up every year to help carry this segment for me. Hello, Santa. How are you?
Oh, Matty, how have you been? It's been too long. How's everything going?
Well, if anybody should know, shouldn't you, since you're constantly surveilling me in my house?
What? No, it's not. I'm not. What are you? I'm not no freak. That's a constant surveillance or anything. That was wrong.
But then how? You know when I'm sleeping and you know when I'm awake. Has the song been lying to me the whole time?
Well, it's more of a monitor thing. It's like a emotion monitor. So if something happens or something bad happens, then we get an alert. Then we check in. It's not like a constant like CIA thing. I don't know what the hell you're talking. Jesus.
Yeah.
How much time do you think we have? I shouldn't even be doing this right now. Everything's so busy, but we're getting everything ready. Black Friday sales. It's a crazy time, but no, it's good to see you again. So I got my list of the 5 most requested movie lover gifts. Some of them I don't even know what half these damn things are, but that's fine. No particular order, I should say, too. Just everything we're kind of getting in. This is the elves sent me this thing, so we'll see how this goes. I'm not particularly confident that anybody's going to... Well, either way. So I'll go here. Number 5, from what I'm seeing, the fine folks at the Lego company have released an Ecto 1. The Ghostbusters car. It took about $200. It seems to be sold out at the Lego site. Maybe you can find it some other place. One thing I never understood is why Lego charges so damn much for all of their stuff. $200 seems a little cheap, a little steep. But still, if you're a fan of the Legos, you can get the Ecto 1. Looks pretty sharp, and I think people might enjoy that.
Yeah, Lego has a serious devoted cult following. They're willing to pay quite a bit for their high-end Legos, so if you're into that, that could be a good gift to get. All right, so my number 5, I'm going to reference party game. Board games are kind of all the rage, and though things like Cards from Humanity and stuff are out there, there's a version based off of a particular film that's eminently quotable. I'm talking about the Anchorman Impromptu Teleprompter board game. Essentially, it is a kind of a cross between Mad Libs and Cards for Humanity, where you essentially make up incorrect teleprompter jokes to try and make it as funny as possible. Bonus points, you also get a limited edition jar of Sex Panther. 60% of the time, it works every time. It's available for $30. Most places where games are sold, Amazon, Walmart. So I think it could be fun if you're trying to get together with a group.
Oh, Mrs. Claus loves the Sex Panther, let me tell you. So I'm generally familiar with this Cards Against Humanity thing. What is that all about?
So essentially, for Cards Against Humanity, how it works is somebody puts down a black card, and then everybody else has a bunch of white cards, and they try and make a funny phrase putting the two cards together, and one person judges which one is the funniest. That's how that goes. So basically what this is there'll be a blank teleprompter newscast, and you fill in the blanks, and somebody chooses which one is the funniest one.
Okay, so nothing inappropriate in those sets at all, right? It's all above board, very clean?
No, it's not. But it's really what you make of the game.
Interesting. Dirty. Also, we have a personalized retro videotape print poster you can get off of Etsy from an individual known as the Origami Fox. We're only about $12. And it's basically, it looks like the VHS tapes, right? And what you do, you would handwrite the movies you recorded on it, and it has the titles. Like, you would write, like, Empire Strikes Back, or Twilight, or who knows what else, the Rainbow Bright film. You would write those, but it's in handwriting, and it's an art print, and it looks pretty cool, and you could tell them what films you wanted in the print, and it seems like a fun little thing to do. That'll run you $12. Then you, of course, maybe get it framed at Michael's, and they'll charge you $1,000, and it gets a little pricey, but still. It's a good place to start.
At Michael's. They're always out to gouge you. All right, so I'm going to recommend for the readers among us who don't get enough time just watching movies or listening about movies on your various podcasts, but you want to read about it as well. TCM's The Essentials, based off of the show with Jeremy Arnold, has released a second volume that's coming out just in time for Christmas. So you can pick up each one of them, volume 1 and 2, available for about $23 each off of Amazon. They really just discuss 52 essential films in each volume, and it takes a really cool critical look at it. I don't know if you've ever watched The Essentials show on Turner Classic Movies, but it's an interesting take about where basically this critic Jeremy Arnold takes a deep dive on each of these films, and it's something, if you're like that show, it's something you can bring along with it.
Yeah, Shanna cut the cord a few years ago, so he doesn't really have access to TCM at this point for that show. That's okay. What are you going to do? And also, he's more of an Audible guy. I'm not a big reader anymore. I had to get glasses a little while ago. I am not enjoying it, so I'm more of an audiobook guy. So,
gotcha.
Sounds horrible. Okay, my third one then is from a company called Moon Lambeau. So you got the moon and then like Lambeau Field, but it's with an O at the end, Lambeau. And
so like the car?
Sure. There's a VHS T120 sneakers, running about $100, and they actually look like the VHS tapes, at least the color scheme, and they have the print of it and the font and all that stuff, and it's just kind of the stylized sneaker. And it's got the VHS in the cover and the blank VHS and the thing, and it's cool. So there you go.
All right. Well, sticking around with my book guides, I don't know if any of you have watched the internet series Binging with Babish, but he has a new book coming out called Eat What You Watch. It's recipes from the movies. I've looked at a few that are available online, and some of them, why anybody would need to have a recipe for a pastrami sandwich from When Harry Met Sally. I don't know why you would need that, but it does
have what she's having.
Exactly. But it does have a recipe for pasta with prison gravy from Goodfellas, which I know everybody is just waiting for. So if you're into eating or cooking and you also want to see, hey, what else can these recipes have from my favorite movies, check this out. And check out Binging with Babish's whole series. He does stuff from TV as well. It's a fun little cooking video series.
Does it have Scorsese's mother's recipes in it for the pasta and the meatballs as well from Goodfellas?
I don't know. That all I could see from the sample was the prison gravy from Goodfellas.
Do you have to cut the garlic with a little razor blade? Like
I mean, if
Pauly
you
does?
don't, then what are you even doing?
Oh. My number 2 then, I think was mentioned earlier, but I think your movie lover was going to really enjoy that Lord of the Rings 4K set. I think $90 even, maybe a little steep, but it'll probably come down, but it's supposed to look fantastic. And it's time to really upgrade those films. Yeah, some sprawling epics. I'm a little torn on having to split up the 2 discs again, but still, if you want to get that maximum picture and that sound and really get everything to pop, it's probably the right thing to do. And you get the digital copies in 4K, so maybe that's okay. I don't know. So that's my number 2.
All right, well, my number 2 is I always like to kind of declare my pop culture bona fides on my chest. So neckbreakertees.com
Oh, I thought you were
has a
going
bunch
with
of
like a tattoo.
Oh yeah, well I would do that on my face. There's only so much room.
Santa's got a lot of tattoos.
I don't doubt it. Someday
Every
you'll have to-
time I end up taking out something in the sleigh, I got a little X, like a little bird or something, a little X on my shoulder.
So you must be completely covered at this point.
I'm like an Ohio State helmet guy with all the little stickers now. That's exactly right.
So Neckbreaker Tees has a bunch of movie pop culture tees, but one of the things I think they have on there that's really cool is they have a lot of classic movie posters that are foreign. So you can see Japanese, Chinese, different versions of classic films that you can really throw on there to show, hey, you know what? Not only am I a movie fan, but I'm a disgusting hipster at the same time, which is always what you're going to go for. They average for about $25 a tee.
I had those listed as an honorable mention. I saw those and thought they were pretty good. I may pick up a few myself. I do like the foreign international movie posters, so that's kind of fun to see. So I would close my list out with the Vankyo, it's spelled V-A-N-K-Y-O, Performance V630 projector. You can find it on Amazon for about under $200. Then the way the world is now, and I had nothing to do with it, everybody's stuck at home and they can't really do anything, you can have your home movie nights. You can get a screen as well from about $25 to $50, $350, $400 out the door. Boom! Home movie night projector in the backyard. Great performance, good picture, native 1080p, sounds a little wanting at times. Maybe you'll have to upgrade with speakers. But still, overall, a great buy.
Yeah, that's a very good buy. Maybe not an excellent buy if you're sitting outside if it's cold, like we are. Someone said I live in a terrible climate. I don't remember who that was.
I've heard that, yes.
So my number one.
I should say I have an indoor theater, like a whole movie theater stuff in my place up at the North Pole. So it's
do you? Well,
yeah, it works out great.
I would expect absolutely nothing less.
Well, when you have just thousands of slave labor workers, it's pretty easy.
Whoa, Santa! I never expected you to put it so bluntly.
Oh, sorry, workers.
All right, so
Paid
my number
an acceptable wage. Continue.
my number one then is, I don't know. I may have mentioned this before, but the Masterclass series out there, it's about $200 a year. It's $180 a year, so it's not cheap. But you get access to some absolutely fantastic things for any budding filmmakers or actors in your lives, or even just somebody who's really into film. At the top of that list, you can watch Martin Scorsese's masterclass on directing and filmmaking. You can also watch acting classes from the likes of Samuel Jackson or Natalie Portman. So it's really got a real wealth of things that are in there. And it's not even if you're, if you want to broaden your horizons outside of movies, you can watch a class from Neil Gaiman on how to write, or you can take a guitar class from Tom Morello. I think it's a really good deal. And right now, if you buy I think by the end of the month, you can give one as a gift and you get one for yourself for free.
Whoa, that's a hell of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go class by class and just choose one?
I don't know. That's a good question. I would have to look.
Jesus Christ, what are we doing here?
Well, I just saw the membership is $180. I don't think you can buy a la carte at this point.
Fine. I had some honorable mentions. There's a ticket stub diary, about $14 from Uncommon Goods. Also there you can get a movie trivia mug that just has some little pictures or illustrations on it, and you have to guess what movie it applies to. And then there's a company called Super Yaki, Yaki, and they have a bunch of fun little t-shirts as well, like Guillermo del Toro directed, or, they look like film credits sometimes, but they do a bunch of different other fun stuff, so check them out as well. Lots of great content there.
The only thing that we didn't mention that I did have on my list was there's a 100 Essential Movies scratch-off poster where you scratch them off as you watch them. The art underneath is very Criterion-esque, so it is kind of cool. I really need to get on also getting some of that Criterion movie artwork. I don't know where I would put it in my house, but I feel like I need to get some of that as well. The only other thing that I am interested in, and I would have to talk to my co-host Chris about maybe checking out, I am very curious to see what this Godfather Coda is all about, where Coppola has gone back and redone stuff to Godfather 3 to hopefully make it a better film, which intrigues me.
Yeah, and so that it's going to get a limited theatrical release as well.
Interesting.
Indeed. Well, that was fun, Matt. I appreciate you bringing me back, though I usually just show up.
I think that's what happens, but we'll call it that I brought you back. Thank you for accepting my invite. I know you're a very busy man, Santa.
You're very welcome. You should be honored. What are you guys discussing next week?
That is a good question. Well, we are for sure moving into the thing that Chris suggested, but he's been dreading all year long with our band marathon. I believe the first one being The Last Temptation of Christ. The second film, I don't recall. Edit. My second film is Trial of the Chicago 7 is what we tentatively have.
All right, then. I was there, so I'll be able to let you know how much of the Last Temptation of Christ is accurate. I mean, I wasn't there, but I know I was, 100 years later, but at this point, the mythology with me is a little weird, like I've always been around, or it's trust me, I know. So I can fill you in historically if need be. Just hit me up at Santa.com.
Just the whole website, Santa.com.
Yeah, there's a contact me tab on there.
Okay, very good.
Or you can send a letter. When you send in what you want for Christmas, just say, hey, Santa, what about X? And I'll...
Tell me about The Last Temptation of Christ?
I'll tell you all about it.
All right.
You're welcome. Well, thanks for having me, Matt. It was good to see you again. Tell Chris I said hi. I'm so sorry that I missed him yet again.
I know. It's crazy how that works out. I'm sure he'll be very bummed.
I don't know. He seems like he's living the charmed life. Exceptionally good-looking man. Lots of fun. Good personality. I like that kid.
He is a triple threat.
All right. Well, I guess have a good holiday, everybody. And we'll see you in a year. Ho, 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 ho!
It feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful audience. Give yourselves a round of applause. You're so lovely. Everyone's so lovely. And while you're in the clapping mood, I'd like to give a big round of applause to my band, Sexual Chocolate. Sexual Chocolate. They play so fine, don't you agree? I believe the children are our future. Thank you. Teach them well and let them lead the way.